Sam Savage here with breaking news. On March 28, 1979, at approximately 4 o'clock a.m. Eastern Seaboard Time, the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor complex suffered a partial meltdown. Only 16 hours later was the reactor being cooled and finally flooded, and its temperature brought under control. But by this time, half the core had already melted, and part of it had disintegrated. The TMI-2 reactor was eventually entombed in concrete. On April 2nd, 5 days after the meltdown in 1979, the disaster was officially declared over. Suffered a partial meltdown. A pilot-operated relief valve system failed to tell the operators at the compound about the release of nuclear reactor fluid. This fluid creates a safe environment for nuclear reactions to take place without the excess heating of the core. However, without this fluid, the reactor will overheat, and this is exactly what happened. Due to confusion and problems with a pilot-operated relief valve system and confusion between co-workers, mass amounts of radioactive coolant fluid were released. Without this fluid, the reactors could not cool themselves, and thus a partial meltdown had occurred. On March 28th, 6:56 a.m., the plant supervisor declares an official emergency. During the course of the accident, 2.5 million curies of radioactive noble gases were released. Furthermore, radioactive material was dumped into the Susquehanna River, where in the preceding months, infant mortality increased tenfold. Luckily, no human lives were lost in this accident. A new study that has found that 2 years after the 3 Mile Island meltdown incident, death rates in the negative effects of radiation exposure in plants, trees, and also farm animals like cows and cats. Ultimately, the accident has shown the American public, along with the world, that we need to have a better understanding of how energy is created and maintained and cooled. Days after the 3 Mile incident, Governor Thornborough, the NRC chair, ordered an evacuation of all people living in a 5-mile radius of 3 Mile Island. The cleanup of the reactors in 3 Mile Island started in of 1970. The bill would total up to $1 billion. But after more in-depth analysis, the total cost resulted in $2.2 billion.